mindfulness and living in a fast-paced world. It's no secret that we live in a world that's very fast-paced. There's tons of distractions, stressors, and just basically the world is almost designed to pull us out of living in a mindful way. And mindfulness changed my life, but it almost completely backfired in the beginning. But before I talk about that, let's talk about shortly. I want to introduce you to the 7-day Qigong challenge, which is a challenge I just launched on my website, so you can check that out on effortlessqigong.com. And you can click the link in my bio, and on there it's just a 7-day Qigong challenge where each day you'll receive a 7-minute routine, which is a great way to get started with your Qigong journey. So what is mindfulness anyway? That's what we're talking about today, is what is mindfulness in a busy world? Even right now, there's things around me that could distract me. But staying present, mindfulness, it really is the practice of presence. So staying present with what you're doing in the moment. It's also being, in general, aware of thoughts, emotions, and feelings, and doing so without judgment. So it's allowing for that space for thoughts, emotions, and all that stuff just to work as we to examine our minds with awareness. Have you ever been driving and you find yourself getting home or getting to work and then thinking to yourself, how did I get here? Like, I don't even remember really most of the drive. That's one example of ourselves losing connection to our mindfulness. Have you ever been triggered or felt very distracted at work, or you've just sort of fallen unconsciously into the day-to-day motion of daily living, the daily grind that we go through? And it's through all this, through our phone addiction's huge right now. TV, Netflix, work, all this stuff that we're doing, distractions, other people. It's very easy to lose our sense of mindfulness. We sort of fall unconscious like that. Your voice is not clear. Well, I'm not sure. Okay, let me know, folks, if you're watching, if you can hear me. I've got a microphone set up, but so I'm going to unplug the mic. Hopefully that changes things. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, so next, the challenges of a fast-paced world. So one of the things we can do, even though our lives are really busy sometimes, and it's easy to lose track of to get unmindful, to lose mindfulness of that, is we can take time throughout our schedule to slow down. On the weekends, after work, and in general, actually, we could slow down and we can do less. I'll talk more about that as we get going here. So what are some of the challenges in our modern world that pull us away from mindfulness? Big ones right now are digital distractions. Digital distractions are everywhere. And especially I can think about it in my own life. Because, when I do these lives talking about mindfulness, I want you to also know this from my perspective, that I am on my journey of developing more mindfulness, right? So our consciousness, our lives are big and complex, and we have a lot of aspects to ourselves. So maybe we're more mindful and more conscious in some areas than others, and it's through that awareness that we're growing, right? So we're all on our own paths and journeys in this regard. But recently I actually purchased an audiobook called Alan Carr's Easy Way to breaking phone addiction. I actually realized that I think I have a bit of phone addiction. I think a lot of us do, and we don't even realize it. It's almost like it's just become part of our culture to always be on our phones and distracted and on social media. But I think that that's one of the biggest things that pulls ourselves away from mindfulness for so many reasons. And in fact, I think I could do a whole live stream just talking about how that disperses our awareness. Another example of losing mindfulness is we rush from one task to the next. So we get this done, then we get this done, and we never take time to slow down, to breathe and relax. And it's doing this, rushing from one thing to the next, being kind of scattered or just like going at our lives, that we can actually lose our connection to ourselves. We can lose our connection to the present moment, and we can even forget to actually take a minute to breathe, to relax and let go of that stress. And that can lead to things like burnout, frustration, chronic stress, when we are just not taking time to slow down. Essentially, we aren't being mindful when we fall into autopilot. Okay, so these struggles are really normal. We all deal with them. Modern life is not set up to modern life as it is right now is not set up in a way that's great for developing a mindfulness skill. You essentially need to develop mindfulness despite the modern world's setup and pop culture. And it's also important that as we are developing our mindfulness muscle, that it's not like you are mindful or you're not mindful. Mindfulness comes in varying degrees, and it's normal for mindfulness to fluctuate, okay? And so always have a sense of compassion and empathy for yourself when you get started on a meditation or mindfulness journey. We develop mindfulness through practices like meditation, qigong, journaling, contemplation. And we also develop mindfulness just through being mindful and practicing mindfulness, active mindfulness, while we're going through our daily lives. So when we're like doing groceries, when we're cleaning the kitchen, when we're cooking food or eating meals or communicating to our spouse or our children or these things, those are all opportunities to practice mindfulness. Because again, what is mindfulness? It's being aware of your thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions through an objective lens. You're just observing them, you're being mindful of them, you're noting them. And the more often that we are mindful of those things, when we also align ourselves to be more like aware of our values and what we want from life, like when you make that kind of known to yourself, you can mind that with a bit of mindfulness, and that can make a big difference over time. So the practice of mindfulness can be transformational. As we do it, what we can get from it is improved emotional regulation and stress management. So by being aware of thoughts, emotions, feelings, instead of being an autopilot all the time, which can be so easy to fall into, when we are developing our mindfulness, we can improve our emotional regulation, partly just by being more aware of the emotions, like even just being able to say to yourself, like, I feel sad right now, or I feel angry right now. That's a component of mindfulness, is just being able to note and be aware of what emotion it is you're feeling in the moment. Because sometimes we don't always know. And so it actually can take a bit of practice, especially when you have multiple emotions at once. That can make mindfulness a little more interesting, because I've got a bit of anger, a bit of joy, a bit of happiness, all at the same time. So that can be interesting. And mindfulness can help us to regulate that and deal with stress. For example, another way mindfulness can help in that regards is if you know that you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed, or in the morning you've got a bit of brain fog. Just the awareness of that can help you trigger, like, for example, I need to be doing my qigong, or I didn't do my qigong and I'm feeling like this, or okay, I'm feeling a bit of burnt out and stressed. I'm aware of it. Normally it's in the background, an autopilot. I'm going to take some conscious, mindful steps now moving forward to help regulate these emotions. So that could be getting to bed early. It could be doing a qigong routine, meditation, mindfulness. Maybe you need to journal about whatever it is you're processing and working through. And then mindfulness can also help improve focus, productivity, and creativity. Because it comes back to the fact as well, like when you're practicing mindfulness on a regular basis and you've built that skill, you're going to be able to regulate your emotions, your stress, your energy levels better, which is going to improve focus and productivity, creativity. And like I was saying before, mindfulness is really important. Like if we want to develop healthy, conscious relationships with those in our lives, we basically need to be having mindfulness as sort of the keystone, as the backbone of those relationships should be grounded in mindfulness. That's like a key sort of component of all that, because it's in those moments when we're on autopilot, when we're falling into old behaviors, when we're just reacting to things that are being said to us, or being defensive, or whatever it is, making projections or assumptions about those around us, which mindfulness helps us to work through, that our relationships will suffer. That just seems natural to me. Because like our minds, our relationships, our habits are a garden that require tending. And if you're not a mindful gardener, weeds will be growing. And then lastly, one of the great things about mindfulness is that it helps us to appreciate the small things more. Because probably in your house, in your apartment, in your neighborhood, there's like really beautiful, interesting things you can be doing, like going for walks at a park, enjoying the smell of a candle you have, or taste of the food you're eating, the sound of your favorite song. When you practice mindfulness on a more regular basis, because you're more mindful, you're more present, you can actually enjoy the little things in life more. So some practical tips for developing mindful living is a mindful morning routine. A lot of the things we're doing here on Qigong are perfect for this, effortless Qigong, are perfect for this. So developing a mindful morning routine, that can be as simple as just doing like a 2 to 5 minute meditation in the morning. I highly recommend the app called Balance. So you can check that out. You can sign up for 1 year for free on Balance. And Balance is great because it's going to teach you so many meditation and mindfulness skills that I haven't really talked about here, because I think that those skills are best developed when you're actually doing the practice. Also, a mindful morning routine can involve, deep breathing. I always do breath work in the morning. I find that really helps. I pretty much always do Qigong as well. And something that if you have time, like this can be great to do on the weekends or days where you're not super busy. You can do things like gratitude journaling, or just any type of journaling can be great for building that mindfulness muscle. Another way we can build and maintain mindfulness as we're going throughout our week is by taking times to breathe throughout the day. So this can be like if you work from home or you have lunch breaks, there's various breathing exercises that you can do that are, if you're in public, they're ones that are more hidden. If you can move around and be in a place where you're understood or judgment free or whatever, there's various types of other breathwork exercises that you can do throughout the day. So one of the things I like to work on more myself is mindful eating. Just being there and present and tasting your food, not eating too fast. Another fantastic way to develop our mindfulness muscle is to set up detox moments. So where we live in a world of constant stimulus, like cell phones, Netflix, movies, people talking to us, emails, work, notifications on our phones, like all these things. Carving out time where you're away from the cell phone, away from the movies or other people, where you can just breathe, feel. Maybe you have a a journal to help kind of guide these sessions. Set a timer. Set a timer for some distraction-free time, and make that a regular part of your habit of your week to have that 5-10 minutes or an hour, whatever it is for you, and make that an intentional practice. Mindful transition between tasks. Yeah, so I recently learned a technique by Brandon Burchard, who has an app called Growth Day, which I'm part of, and every morning he does do something called the Morning Fire, which is great. So if you are into personal development, I don't think you're going to find much better coach than Brandon Burchard. Okay. He has a course called, I'm not even sure, that's motivation, or it's one of his high performance ones. And he talks about a technique for energy management called the rest and intention technique. And I think this technique is so important. Basically, the rest and intention technique it's a mindfulness technique where in between tasks, or let's say every hour at work, you take 1 minute to 3 minutes where you take a deep breath, exhale, and then you just say to yourself, release, 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 and you just relax all the tension in your body, all the muscle tension. You let emotions go, and you let everything settle down. You stop thinking about whatever it was you were doing, and you just settle kind of into the present moment. The dust settles a bit, and once you've relaxed and grounded yourself, then what you do is you set your intention for what you want to do next. And so this is sort of like a really condensed way of practicing mindfulness every day. That's super easy to do, just one simple technique. And because if you think about it, you're being mindful, you're relaxing, you're noticing your stress, and then you're setting your intention. And oftentimes it's important to have a bit of a framework there. So maybe 3 things you could do for yourself as you're setting that intention would be like, how do I want to feel? How do I want to show up for others? And like, what am I doing next? Like, those can be 3 simple questions that we ask ourselves once we've taken the time to breathe, relax in between tasks. And then in the evening, we can do wind down practices. I think it can be, a lot of this stuff can be challenging to maintain, which is, I think, part of the value of coaching or being part of a community where you're with people who are doing this stuff on a regular basis. So that's why I will be offering like courses and groups and stuff like this in the future where we can really focus on developing these things together, because learning about it's one thing and then actually doing it on a regular basis is another thing. So having an evening routine can be really important for developing mindful living. One of the mistakes that we're making right now, I think, as a culture is just we're too stimulated in the evenings too late. I think like being on a screen or watching a movie right before bed, I think can really affect your sleep quality. Or just being up too late because you're binge watching a show till like 1 a.m. or whatever. We really, also, it's kind of connected, but so having a high quality routine that's based around mindfulness principles in the evening can be really great for improving mindfulness over time, but also improving our sleep. Without a solid sleep schedule, that's where you're getting regular quality sleep, probably 8 to 10 hours, it's really hard to actually develop a mindfulness muscle. Because if you're not sleeping on a regular basis, you're essentially drunk all the time, drunk with the fatigue, and you're never gonna have the quality of consciousness and well-being without high quality sleep. Which is why I think mindfulness is like the center point of all these good habits. Like developing mindfulness with the intention of personal development is really foundational, I think, to building a high quality life, which is what Effortless Qigong should be. Like this channel should exist within you exploring other personal development and spiritual development practices, because your health matters and Qigong is an important tool, but we should be looking at other stuff as well. Like functional medicine, I recently learned is a pretty interesting term. Okay. So if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay, which I think most of you will be doing, here are some questions for you. I want you to take note of any struggles you have with staying present right now and what distractions you have right now the most. I invite you to find your favorite ways, whatever that is, whether it's the rest and intent technique, or it's a breath technique, or it's a short Qigong practice. Speaking of which, in the membership, which you can sign up right now for a discount, it's like 32% off if you do sign up for the whole year. The Effortless Qigong Elevate membership, I do have a playlist right now of 5-minute routines that you could do as a mindfulness break. So yeah, there's that. Another thing to do would just be just become more curious and open and compassionate to thoughts, emotions, feelings, triggers with yourself and other people. Just start to really become a student of your own mind. And that can be great. Okay, so that's it for this live session. I'm doing a live session every day, partly because I really want to practice my public speaking skills, and this is a great way for me to do it. I know I'm looking away from the camera quite a bit. That's something I'd like to work on as I keep doing these, but I've got my notes in front of me. So each of these topics can be you can dive deeper into these things. There was a lot of value in this this short live session, a lot of things you can think about and explore. And so to finish up, the overall goal for these lives is to motivate you, to encourage you, and to inspire you to pursue your Qigong journey. Qigong is a mindfulness practice. It's a mind-body practice where we're developing mind-body fitness. And if that's been resonating with you, if you've watched this live all the way through, I definitely recommend that you check out and start as soon as you like it, it's comfortable for you, is the 7-day Effortless Qigong Challenge. The link to this is at effortlessqigong.com, and there's also a link in my bio. This is a 7-day free challenge or program, whatever you want to call it, where each day you receive a 7-minute routine that's going to introduce you to Qigong. So they're both basic but practical and effective routines to help you go from stressed and tired, lacking in mindfulness, to more energized and relaxed and working toward that mind-body fitness. You're going to feel really great at the end of this. It's a really great achievement if you can do all 7 days. And ideally, it's just the beginning of a Qigong journey for you. So thank you so much for watching this short 20-minute live. I hope you're having a great day. Peace.